Apparently the audio was echoing. That's very funny.
No, I think Goose is trolling us here.
I mean, it is Goose,
Okay,
so
so
it wouldn't
we are
surprise
now
me.
live.
Hey, what's
Okay.
up, y'all?
Um, please let us know if you can see the stream.
Yeah, the stream is there.
Okay, cool. So we're just going to wait here for a sec while I get some of the links out.
Goose, you absolutely would. Don't lie. Yeah. Let me put this back in. How are you all tonight, chat? Hope that you are well, including Cross.
I need to refresh my chat.
Uh, okay, I've got the promotions out in the places where we do the promoting.
Oh, okay. You already took care of everything.
Yeah, of
Thank
course.
you, Lion. Okay.
Indo,
Yeah.
no, don't encourage this, Indo.
Thank you, Indo. Smelfy gang, rise up.
No, no.
Yeah. Hey, Sal. Hello,
Ugh.
Goose. Hey, Cross. How's everyone's day, evening been going? Ah, thank you, Magician. Hey, Founder.
What up?
Hello, BC. We're going to wait until about 8:10, and then we will start the stream proper.
Yeah, what's up, Poto?
Hello. Hey, Lude.
What up? Oh man, look at this. We got 8 people watching and 8 likes. That's a
Damn.
100% like rate ratio.
Everyone here loves that like button.
Yeah. I'm gonna unmute just so I can see what music we got going.
I haven't changed any of the music settings, so it should be all the same music from last week's stream.
How is the music, by the way, chat? Lord, no, no. I mean, yes, salt the like button, but jeez. Why is it like every stream?
Every stream, what?
Anytime Lard is in any stream chat is just ugh.
This is the way of the lard. This is standard operating procedure at this point.
How is your what do you call it? Were you using what, BlueStacks, I assume? I think you told me and I've already forgotten.
Yes, I. Oh, I hear some echoing now.
That was me.
Okay, cool.
My headset came unplugged.
Yeah, BlueStacks is running. All the stream stuff should be good. Let me get the chat pop out. Cool. This is not Battle Network. This is the 8-bit tunes. Maybe not 8-bit, but it's the tune music from Nier Automata. I should get Battle Network music going. Anyways, okay, so thank you everyone for stopping by for episode 2 of Echoes from the Rift. So today we will be going over Ashe Cycle and also sort of the transition from Luffenia to Shinryu, just because I know there's been a lot of questions going around about that. We also have a slight new feature debut for the stream. It's not quite what I was hoping to get done, but I've been a bit busy with personal stuff as of late. So hopefully by the next stream we'll have some better stream assets. But let's switch to the live scene. Okay, hello there. So here are our new little logos instead of just the Discord chat window. So myself will be on the bottom left, and you can assume what Lion is going to be.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. We PNG tubing now. I am too cheap to afford a VTuber, but the artist credits are in the description. So if you do like my art here, please check out the artist in the YouTube description down there. No, this is not a tree. This is my PNG spirit animal. Okay, so I guess first and foremost, as I mentioned sort of last stream, this will also be sort of a like a new character, new player progression series. So I just want to do a quick overview of all the content that I've completed up to date, and how my roster has developed since the stream last week or 2 weeks ago. So let's go to Transcendence. So I had up to Transcendence 5 cleared. I have now cleared, or not Transcendence, Entropy. I've now cleared all of Entropy. Entropy is extremely crept content and very easy. Basically, if you have an FR, you can essentially solo it. So there's nothing really to say here other than I got it done, so that my banner isn't just a lame silver banner.
Who'd you use for 4 for the solo?
I used Onion Knight. Onion Knight can
Onion Knight is the
solo
best
Entropy
character in
4.
the game.
Yeah, broken character.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Before we get to Transcendence, I do want to go over Six Warrior, because that was one of the quests I'd outlined previous that I couldn't complete. I did manage to finish Area 3, so this is the most recent, aside from the story chapter, Six Warrior quest, I believe. And the reason I couldn't do it last time was due to a lack of defensive options. So since we got Orin with the Dark Knight Cecil banner, which we will be going over 2 weeks from now, I was able to go through this and clear the content. So this fight is pretty interesting. In theory, it requires you to have an ice enchant imperiler. And I guess this is something that we will get into more in the Q&A section. But rainbow numbers help out a lot, especially when it comes to elemental lockouts. So characters like Setzer and Jegrin, who is available right now in GL, can help out quite a bit when the lockouts start coming in JP.
I hate admitting that is accurate.
Listen,
I like
rainbows.
Setzer though.
Yeah, rainbows have meaning again, which is nice. It's good that it's not a dead mechanic like turn warping is. So So in terms of transcendence, I only cleared the Shinryu based difficulties. So stages 1 through 9 I have not interacted with. So stage 13 is the most recent transcendence tier, and I won't go into it on this stream because it's part of Dark Knight Cecil's cycle, so we will be going over that in 2 weeks from now. But I just wanted to say that, I have cleared 13, and then I also decided to clear all the prior Shinryu difficulty transcendence tiers. Ashe was used in Transcendence 12, but I will be freeing her up for Transcendence 9 because Transcendence 12 is not difficult. So I think it's the quite easy compared to all the others. At least that was my experience. Would you agree with that, Lion?
God, yeah. I soloed it with Celeste. It was, without a doubt, one of the easiest stages. What was it? Tier 4? That was also incredibly simple.
I think tier 7 and 8 were tier 4, maybe. I don't remember what tier 4 is.
I don't either. I just remember one of the early ones was very, very easy.
Yeah.
Let me look at this.
But yeah, this is quite easy. Transcendence 11 was cleared, and Transcendence 10, which is the this is what Trevoid looks like IRL raw. Transcendence 10 is what we are getting next in GL, and I haven't gone through it now. I would say that it's sufficiently doom posted. I don't think people are under hyping the difficulty of this fight. Would you agree with that, Lion?
No.
Yeah. Oh, you don't agree?
No. I do agree.
Oh, okay.
I think cool. I think it is sufficiently doom posted.
Yeah, because we're not doing a full overview of Transcendence 10, I'll just do a quick rundown. But Transcendence 10, the main boss has the Transcendence 6 mechanic of having sufficient debuffs. Like you need to have a certain amount of debuffs, otherwise they have different mechanics, like the flower dragons for the Caius Transcendence. So it is very rough. That's why I brought Amiditali in here, due to her sufficient amount of debuffs. Hey, Blind Eye. And then Jack and Beatrix were here just to power creep the difficulty of the fight. So I didn't even get like the real experience of dealing with Transcendence 10 because I used such crapped units, and it was still a bit tricky here and there. They do a lot of HP attacks and such. One thing I will note, sort of as a positive change I feel they've done with Transcendence tiers in the Shinryu era, is that you get almost all the materials just by clearing the 2 wings, which are still base Luffenia difficulty, and as such are ridiculously crept at this point. So the only thing that you get for clearing the middle node is 20 of the force shards. I don't know if that's what you call them, Lion, or if that's what the community sort of has agreed to in terms of that vernacular there.
I do not know what the community calls them.
Yeah, you know what I'm referring to. I'll put up a visual here just so.
A little.
Just so.
Little triangle pyramid guys.
Here, these things. So okay, maybe it. Yeah, so this is if you perfect 10 stages, but in the normal clear rewards here, you'll see that this is for each wing. So this is stage 10 left wing. You get the 5 nuggets and 10 pages. So you get a full book and 10 nuggets just for doing the 2 wings. So this is actually much nicer for those who don't necessarily want to clear content the day it drops or even during when it's fresh. I think this is a very nice quality of life upgrade for Shinryu. So that is about the extent of what I've progressed on in general here. The only new units I got are Dark Knight Cecil, Leon, and Orin, but I don't really want to go into them too much again. I'll save them for Dark Knight Cecil's cycle. And I think we can, unless, Lion, did you get any changes to your account since the last stream? In terms of
no, not really.
No. Okay.
I still need to stop being lazy and do a 6-man area 3.
Okay.
And I have, looks like 4 intertwined wills that I'm missing something on, which one of them is Vaughn's, and I don't remember what the other ones are.
I technically cleared Vaughn's, but we will get into that shortly.
Yeah.
So one point that I had raised last stream, and I mentioned I would circle back to it this one once I gave it an attempt, was, let me just go to my stream topics here, was the gating of BT Plus materials for legacy content behind the Luffenia missions for Shinryu era. So for those who weren't there or who may have forgotten, starting in Shinryu, so technically speaking the next event in GL, you will no longer be getting the BT Plus nuggets for just clearing the Luffenia or even the Shinryu. You need to do it in Chaos Challenge conditions, which is all synergy and no friend unit. So I had originally frowned upon that change just because when you're a completely fresh account, that's very, very difficult to do unless you want to waste your red tokens on like a 35 CP or a 15 CP weapon. But now, having played the game for a little bit longer and actually tried the fights, as long as you have one synergy unit who's built up, especially if they happen to be a burst unit, I'll do an example of Iroha. So Iroha with her BT and her FR, even just her FR, are sufficient to basically carry both Raijin and Seven through the Luffenia mission. So it's really not that bad. And especially given that, you know, for us global players, you will have most of these characters at least somewhat built. The Luffenia missions are extremely crept at this point. It's not that big of a deal. So I will retract my Doom posting as of last stream. This is a fine change. It's like, was it a necessary change? You know, I would say not really, but it is not such a big deal that it's something that you have to worry about at all moving forward into the Shinryu era. And I think that was your point last week or last stream, right, Lion?
We've gotten to the point where characters are so powerful that even if literally all you have is like a maxed 15 and maybe 35 and very little else, you can still blast right through them because the conditions, while the orbs are still fatal, the conditions are really easy to tick as long as you've got those 3 synergy characters. You just plop them in, you're good to go. It's especially if you do have, you know, the burst or the FR that is featured. But even if you don't, you can rely on calls or whatever else to kind of power DPS your way through it. Like in the case of, I think the very next one down is Veins.
Yes.
I blew through that with a full investment vein, which you could argue is kind of cheating. But I have basically nothing for Cyan, and at the time, I didn't have a whole lot for Leon either, and it was fine.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it is. There may be if you're a new player, it's probably going to be a little rough. But at the same time, if you're a new player, you should honestly kind of be pulling on basically every banner for maybe a solid month or so, maybe 6 weeks, even if it's just with tickets, so that you can kind of build up that roster, and so you've got more characters that you can use to tackle different stages.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, this account here is only 6 weeks old, and I've been able to do quite a few, and I haven't even gotten to some of the others that I could do. So it looks the future is fine here.
And characters being automatically level 70, the ease with which you can max out your summon boards for characters, it's like night and day.
Yeah, completely. So actually, I think that's a good point to move into. Then one of the quality of life updates that JP got, and I'm not sure if they got it right on Shinryu launch. Maybe you'll have a better recollection here, Lion. But one of the things that happens now is every a new character you get starts out at crystal level 90 and character level 90. I don't, because this is a new account, I couldn't have had any characters before this quality of life happened. So I don't know if this also automatically levels your existing roster to this point if you had units who weren't at either of those thresholds, and it sort of lifts your roster to that point, or if it's just for any new characters coming in. But this is a really nice quality of life, especially in terms of just cutting down on the amount of crystals that you have to grind, and I guess character levels as well, because those first 70 levels can really eat into your crystal stash. See ya, Indo. Thanks for stopping by. Do you remember, Lion, if this happened right when Shinryu came in?
It did not.
It did not.
No, it came in about, I want to say 2 months later.
Oh wow.
I seem to remember it was around the time of the first Spiritus.
I see. Okay. If that's the case, I hope, and there's a couple sort of Shinryu era quality of life changes that JP got about 1 or 2 months in, I believe, in terms of the reworking of the force gauge, changing some of how the enforce enhancement works. So I hope we do get those on launch, because my understanding is that the force bar in its prior iteration was not very nice.
No, it was horrible.
Okay, so I will do a brief showcase here of what the force gauge looks like now, if it'll let me. As soon as everything loads. Hello, Alfie and D-Knight. No COD feet this stream, Alfie.
Oh my god.
That was last stream, so catch the VOD of that. I'm not allowed to put her on stream anymore. I was timed out. Okay, so this is the new representation of our FR gauge here. I guess I gotta pick the Shinryu fight to show the enemy one, but it's fine for just the showcase here. So prior to the quality of life change, so meaning that this may be what we get in about a week and a half in global, there was no percentage, correct, Lion?
Originally, they were these little
There were notches at the 20 at each like 20% threshold.
Yeah, looking at the video right here, you see how at the 80% mark there's that little
There's a little dash here.
the divider. Yeah, and you've got a little 20% block there to the right of it. Originally, when Shinryu came out, when it was released, there was no percentage, and each 20% mark was marked off as well. You had no idea how much you were gaining per turn. You had no idea how close you were to any given threshold. As a matter of fact, during Force Time, you couldn't even see what your increases were. You would see it go from 128 to 100 and I don't know 46 or whatever, but there wouldn't be the plus in this case 18 that would pop up. It was unnecessarily complicated. This change has streamlined things and smoothed it out a lot. It's very, very, very much appreciated.
So hopefully we do get this quality of life on launch, but just so you are aware, we may not, and it may be the previous gauge style. So just be aware that what you are seeing now may not be an accurate representation of what we'll be getting in GL shortly. So let me quit out of this.
I don't mind if we don't get the faster charging gauge or whatever, but man, I need my percentages.
Yeah. Oh yes, thank you, Hunchu, for pointing that out. When Shinryu launched in JP, the force gauge always started at 0 regardless of difficulty. Along with the force gauge mechanic changes that came in after a month or so, they also made it so that all fights at chaos difficulty or below immediately start out at a maxed out force gauge, and Shinryu difficulty starts out, or not Shinryu, sorry, Luffenia starts out at 50% of your force gauge already filled. And Shinryu always starts at 0. So we may also be getting it that all the sub Shinryu difficulties don't have any sort of increased force gauge, which isn't a big deal because again they are crept. It's just a quality of life so that you don't have to stay in the stage too long. You can sort of get right to the Shinryu difficulty fight. So those are just some things to be aware of, that if you're watching a JP video, be aware that we may not have this on launch in GL next week. Well, I can't remember what the saying is, but hope for the best and plan for the worst. So those should be your expectations going into Shinryu in terms of quality of life. So one thing I want to mention, sort of as a tie-in from the topic of quality of life and force times, is a pretty present topic going on right now in GL discourse regarding resource management. So one of the things I think that is, I don't think doom posted is the right word or right terminology here, but stressed maybe, is your character enhancement points total, I guess, management of character enhancement points. And I think for most players in GL, this is an issue that you shouldn't be worrying about, especially if you've ever had any form of Mog Pass. You should have in theory, you should have a pretty good cushion of character enhancement points to sort of bank on during the early Shinryu era. And I guess the reason why people are a bit worried about it, let me go to a character who I haven't force enhanced. So
And you've already redeemed your Mog Pass, right? Your free one?
I did. So I did redeem my free Mog Pass, and I also am going to continue to purchase the base Mog Pass for my JP account, um, which is a horrible experience, by the way. I don't recommend anyone do that because it is a nightmare of setting up different accounts in different regions and transferring between devices. It was a very painful experience. But regardless, to fully force enhance a character, you will require 15,000. 15,000? Yes, 15,000 enhancement points and 60 of these force shards, or 3 of these force pyramid things. I don't know what these force items are called.
I think they're called Force Stones.
Force stones. I don't even know why we have 2 forms of currency because they're directly interchangeable.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
Basically, the way you get these pyramid things is when you fully realize a force weapon, you get 2. You're just given 2 once you MLB a force weapon, and these shard fragments. These are what you get for completing the Shinryu difficulty. Sometimes they're rewarded in co-op shops during certain events and such. But so at the beginning of Shinryu, for global players, I would say that your choke point will be the force enhancement materials as opposed to the character enhancement points. Would you agree with that, Lion? Hello, man.
I would say yes.
Yeah.
That being said, I believe you also get. I don't remember the exact number. I think it's 1, might be 2, for maxing out a force weapon.
It's 2. 2 of these pyramid things.
I don't pay that much attention to them.
Yeah. So the only thing I'll caution here, because I think people are being a bit too worried about your character enhancement points, is just don't go maxing every character like you could have been doing in Luffenia and the entire sort of character board lifespan of the game. Because you if you do that, you will run out of resources. You will probably run out of your force materials first, compared to your enhancement points. I know a lot of global players have over 100,000 points at this point, so that's not really a big issue. But just focus on investing in the units that you care about. If you've been playing the game since Chaos era, I would say treat it like when you're EX plusing a unit. I don't know if you'd agree with me there, Lion, but I would say only force enhance a unit that you would at that point in time have considered EX plusing, right? Like, don't force enhance a unit you're not going to use, basically.
I would agree that you shouldn't be burning force level materials and board points for somebody that you're not going to use. I think that if you don't have at least their excuse me, at least their full kit all the way up to the LD, I wouldn't even bother. And even then, let's say you've got the character's full kit, you've got their BT, their FR, their LD, everything, but you're not really going to use them all that much, or maybe you were trying to pull for somebody else and you got really lucky, I still wouldn't bother investing with that. Basically, the way that I look at it is, unless it's a character that I'm going, blue armor, green BT, max out the FR, etc., full investment, I'm not going to bother spending those points because they are really precious. Like I look at your account right here, and you've got just shy of 61,000 board points. I am completely free to play on JP because I am too dumb to figure out or learn how to, buy a Mog Pass. I'm sitting at 28,000, which is not a lot. And it is a real struggle sometimes to try and get just the right amount of investment. So this is definitely something to keep in mind. Don't invest just because.
Advice is a good stopping point for force enhancing of a unit is, and I may not have any at that point anymore, is force enhancement level 23. I don't know again if this is the right term for these points, but basically at the 23 point is when you can stop and you've gained most of the benefits of the force boards, or not force boards, force enhancements themselves. And if it's a unit that you really plan on using quite a bit, of course you should max them out.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Sine Wave, I forget exactly what Reddit post it was, but Sine Wave had this really well mathed out. He put in this comment on a Reddit thread, and I'll see if I can find it, where he went into a lot of detail on this, and kind of where exactly you need to spend your points, both as far as your character boards as well as your force enhancements on this. Very, very well done.
Actually, both Sine Wave and Cross have just today, I believe, put out videos on getting into the Shinryu era, and both are very highly recommended. I watched them both. Very, very good stuff there. And a lot of the stuff that that we both said now is said in a much more concise fashion in their videos. So I would highly recommend giving both of those a watch. Yeah. So one thing I'll mention is that even at a base Mog Pass and having the premium Mog Pass for a month, I'm sitting at 60,000 character enhancement points, and I'm holding off on force enhancing units like my Setzer, for example, even though I've used him in quite a few of my runs. So that just goes to show that just be mindful of who you're going to max. And if you don't feel like you need to max them, try running them, see how that feels. And if you feel like you do need to add that extra juice, then go in and do it. But it's not 100% necessary. So I think on that point, I think we've touched on most of the sort of transitionary material for Luffenia to Shinryu. Is there anything else you wanted to comment on, Lion, before we transition towards the Ashe BT cycle?
I think that one of the more important things for players to understand as they transition from Luffenia Plus to Shinryu is that the way you play the game is going to be completely different. The things that you're looking to do, what you're focusing on, the way you build your team, it's all going to change, and be open to that, because Shinryu really isn't that bad, as long as you are approaching it with from the right frame of reference. If you're going to go in and try and do the same things that you've always done, it's not going to work that well. And there is going to be a little bit of a learning curve, a little bit of a period of adjustment. Once you get over that little hump, you're going to be fine. don't worry about it too much. Don't freak out and think you need to, pull every FR in order to get through events and things like that. Just relax. It'll be fine.
Agreed. I think it may not be quite as noticed during the first cycle, at the very least, in terms of Kane's cycle, because all the FRs are rather lackluster, and I know a lot of people are planning to skip them or only use friend unit FRs to sort of carry them through those first 3 fights. But I think once we get into Cam cycle and Bronze cycle, that's when you'll start to notice. Really, you want to build around the FR, and again, sort of the way I like to describe it is a player side Luffenia orb. So you always want to make sure that you're maxing that out, and that's sort of what your ideal should be. So long as you can handle the mechanics of the fight, everything else should be in service of that FR gauge, and that should be the mentality that we should shift to moving into the Shinryu era. And it is an adjustment, but it's not that radical of a shift. The first couple fights the Kane fight will be difficult because of its mechanics, but fundamentally it's not like we're playing a whole different game here.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I think that if you're a long time, especially if you're a long time player, if you're looking for a frame of reference, the change in difficulty is closer to maybe EX to Cosmos or Chaos to Luffenia than it is Cosmos to Chaos.
Yes, I don't think we've really had a Cosmos to Chaos level shift. I mean, I guess maybe the beginning of Luffenia but not really even to Luffenia Plus. Yeah, I think that was more an abnormality, the Chaos to Cosmos shift, with more of a hard roster reset. Your units will transition relatively fine. There's a lot of bad units in the Luffenia Plus era that sort of won't transition well, don't do your Thancred sagas in the Kane fight, but you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. I think on that note we can hit the Ashe cycle. There won't be much to talk about aside from Ramu Spiritus, I believe, unless there's something you want to. We'll go into the other fights briefly, but unless there was something you wanted to delve into more on a specific fight, you can let me know, Lion. But so there were 3 fights in Ashe's cycle. The first one being her debut fight, which was the Ramu Spiritus, which I will get to at the end because that's where we'll spend the most of our time on. There was also Cease, I don't know, everyone pronounces it differently. Her Lost Chapter, which is very, very similar to her debut event. I don't have really anything to say about this fight. It sort of melted, and the only mechanic they had was the reflecting of your debuffs, but again, that only happened in the HP shield like we just experienced in Global, as far as I'm aware, and I didn't even notice it. So there isn't really much to say other than this fight needed more HP and probably thicker HP shields so that debuff reflection actually had an impact. Is there anything you wanted to add to that, Lane?
Not really. This fight was extremely simple, and it kind of just rolled over. We were discussing before the stream, kind of what our teams were. I couldn't remember who I ran for this, and this was like a week and a half ago.
Right.
It's basically exactly the same as the original event. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It was... Why?
Yeah, it's pretty disappointing. Um, this so I will raise this point, but be aware that this is only from my very narrow perspective of JP so far. And in that, the only fights that have really had much of a kick to it so far have been the debut of the BT weapon. So that would be the Cloud of Darkness 6 Warrior with Iroha, uh, the Ramu Spiritus with Ashe, and now the Transcendence 13 with Dark Knight Cecil. I don't know if that'll carry forward for all of Dark Knight Cecil's cycle because we don't have Jesse's fight. But at least so far, that's been my experience, which is a bit disappointing. But I have from much more veteran JP players that this wasn't always the case. And a good BT cycle, for example, is Minwu, where sort of all the fights were very good, and also Jack Garland as well, apparently.
Yeah, I really liked the Minwu cycle. I think in particular the Bunavelza fight.
Yeah. So I don't think there's anything else to say about this fight. So I'm going to get away from it because it was no good. It's a bad fight. And we'll get to a slightly more interesting fight that also suffers from a lack of HP. And that is the Strago heretic. Was this a heretic? I think it was a heretic. The Strago FR release Shinryu fight, which is against the CPU bosses, which we also just experienced. This is actually pretty funny because it's a fusion of two of the GL fights we just had. In terms of it's the same boss that we had in the Edge intersecting will, but each node has the exact same HP as Transcendence 9 at 60 million each, which is very surprising given that we are 8 months ahead of where we were right now in global, and we've had force weapons all this time, and we still get fights with 60 million HP. So I don't understand what the thought process was behind this fight. It has a pretty cool gimmick of you dealing ones most of the time, unless they're broken, I believe. But again, they just roll over.
Sort of.
Sort of.
Basically, the mechanic for this one is at various thresholds, the enemies will gain some absurd amount of brave. It's like 150,000 or something like that. And they become massively resistant to damage, where I think their defense increases. They gain a bunch of brave reduction, or brave damage reduction. And your goal is to break each of them, because individually they're going to have you doing one brave damage to them. But if you break, let's say, C, you'll do normal damage to C, but only ones to A and B. And it's just you break them that one time, and then it goes back to normal.
Right. Which we've dealt with similar mechanics in the past. Obviously, that's pushing Strago because of his instant break on his LD, but there are many other units. Rainbows do it. The party I brought was Setzer, Machina, and Beatrix, and I just rainbowed through everything. Yes, Jagron also works quite well for this, Omar. If you want to run Jagron, there's many ways to get around this, which is fine. I don't think that's necessarily an issue. I like it when there's many different ways to solve the puzzle. I think the only issue is that again they didn't give the enemies enough HP for a meaningful interaction with the fight.
Yeah. It's nice that we got some counters to some of the more interesting units lately. Like, if you don't have a means to, instantly break them and stuff, I imagine this would pretty hard counter like Jack Garland. but the fact that there's only 60 million HP, which was a lot 8 months ago,
Yeah.
this is bad fight design. I understand there's 3 enemies, but only having 60 million HP was one of the reasons why Transcendence 12 was so easy. There's not enough time for the enemies to push back against you. I think that if each of them had maybe 100 million, it probably would have been a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But then at that point, you start getting into arguments about HP bloat and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a silly argument, but yes, it is an argument that could be made. Yeah, not much to say. I did pull Strago. I do have him built. I didn't even use him for the fight. Not that there's anything wrong with the character. It's just off turn Unga Bunga is just a bit too strong at the moment, at least from what I've been playing around with.
So what you're saying is that you hate old people. That's what I'm hearing.
I despise old people. Except for Galoof. Galoof is good. He's the good one.
I need to go watch some Segan videos and see what he's doing with Fusoya and Galuf and Strago.
Would those three work together?
I don't know.
No. Well, not Galoof. Galoof and Fusoya don't work well together at all.
Just don't paralyze them. It's fine.
Yeah, just don't do the main mechanic of his kit. Here we go. Okay. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of this cycle. The one good fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was a really good one.
Yeah. This is the farthest I've ever gone. Why is it flashing? I don't know what this means. I don't know why it's saying it's on you. Oh, because I transferred. Okay. So this is the farthest I've gone in a Spiritus fight. And I guess a quick overview of how Spiritus works. It's unlike any other fight in the game. They give you a little ranking system based upon meeting certain conditions. So usually A and S are the two you've won the fight conditions. At least that's my understanding. And the difference is basically the turn count. So the S rank is a tighter turn count than the A rank. I could be wrong, but that's my general understanding of how Spiritus works.
Yeah, it's usually tighter turn count and lower HP requirement, I believe.
In this case, it's 50,000 for both, but this could be the exception to the norm. So, for this specific fight, I will be attempting to do a showcase of the fight itself.
Live gameplay, y'all.
Live gameplay. This will probably go very poorly, but I do want to sort of showcase just what it's like to sort of, go through a fight, plan around certain things. Do I want any different calls? I think this is good. Oh yes, cross. That's a good point. You can brave gain through the CPUs as well. They don't have the shut off brave gain feature that some of the harder fights get.
It's funny you say that. I actually went that route on my first attempt, and it turns out that they have a really obnoxious mechanic, and I don't know if it's common to Shinryu bosses, because it's the first time I ever saw it, or excuse me, Spiritus. It was Shinryu, excuse me. I took Y'shtola and Renoa and I think Strago to that, and I hit a point where during the end of Force Time, when my bonus was like 800 plus, Renoa was barely doing 1 million damage on her BT like HP plus, because the enemies cap the amount of brave gain that you can have back. it's a percentage of your max brave, rather than like a percent. Like, oh, it's 80% reduction. It's you are hard limited to X amount. And I did not know that, and I got mad and stopped playing because I couldn't figure it out because I can't fucking read Japanese.
Yeah, that's a skill issue.
It is.
So for this fight, it's two of these Phoenix enemies, and they have two phases. They have a blue phase, like a white and blue, and a red and purple, a red and black phase. In this blue phase, they are unbreakable. They have an unbrave floor, and they also need to take holy / lightning damage, I believe, for your damage to really matter.
Resistant to break damage.
Yeah.
As you can see, the enemies have their own little force gauge.
And so you can see there's two notches here. I don't know if you can see my mouse very well, but at each of these notches, sort of there's a new either stat like stat increase or new mechanic that's added to the fight itself. The only thing to note on the player side is that once you pass this bar here, which is the 80%, all your abilities get buffs if you have your force enhancements. And by buffs, I mean like HP damage up and such, not any sort of mechanical change to the ability itself.
Also, weirdly, the bosses have framed turns, but they are only immune to, I think, break delay.
Yes, I believe I was able to delay them with selfie.
I was running Seymour for this, and I had no problem delaying them with his LD.
Seymour would actually be very good for this fight.
He was great. It was a little annoying that skill issue got in my way. I made a very, very late in the fight, sort of, oh my god, I'm about to die, panic decision, and I hit Iroha's FR instead of Seymour's, and it ended up costing me my S. I ended up with an A because I went to 52 turns out of the 50 I had for the S.
That's rough.
Boo.
Lion, this was one of the things I actually wanted to bring up, but this was a pretty good showcase. I'm not sure if you were paying attention to the force gauge here, but I was at, I don't know, like maybe 17%, and then the enemies got their turn, and I did a huge jump up to 29%. And I don't know why the force gauge does this sometimes. Do you have any sort of insight on why it seems like sometimes the force gauge sort of acts a bit strange? I was talking about this with some other JP players, and they mentioned it has to do with turn rate, like high or low turn rate abilities have different impacts on your FR speed.
That seems to be the case. I think, and I'm sure. Oh yeah, see, there it goes. Wow, that is a lot. I've also seen, and Maki does not synergy here, but I've also seen some talk about there possibly being some kind of synergy bias there.
Okay.
But yeah, usually things that have turn rate will give you a little bit more, which is a big part of why people love their instant turn rate gauge chargers like Selfie or Renoa or Yuna.
Right. Hello there, Sefi. You came just in time to see me fail quite poorly at doing this Spiritus fight. So eventually I will hit my first time, and then we can sort of get into a further discussion about the different phases of the fight itself.
I can't comment Sidewave because I do not have Machina's burst, and I only very recently, on his last appearance, I finally got his LD, and I think I got a copy of it so far. I've never used him, but I trust your game knowledge implicitly.
Do you think I can shave this down?
I mean, you'll probably be fine, but I'm also like 30 seconds behind, I think, because I'm watching the stream.
Well, let's...
Some really well-timed Beatrix HP pluses are a godsend in this fight.
Yes.
Ooh, that's a lot. That's a lot of breaking.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah. One thing I struggle with in longer fights now is when to actually use my BT phases and such. It's something I definitely have to adjust to.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in the global community, I've seen this comment so many times. I've seen it on Reddit. I've seen it on Discord. A lot of people seem to be under the impression that your goal is to press the FR button and then immediately use somebody's BT, and that fights the enemies just die. They just die right there. It doesn't work like that. There's a little more thought and intent behind it. And sometimes you don't want your burst character taking up all the turns, you know. They may not necessarily be the character that's going to increment your force time the best, or play into the strategy. Like if you're running Beatrix, you probably don't want to use your burst at any point during her force time, because you want the enemies to take as many turns as you possibly can.
Yeah, agreed. You also don't want to be pressing Ashe's EX when Beatrix is around either. Nope. Okay. Wow. What is going on? Why is my damage so poor? Oh, is it the enemy force gauge? Is that it?
Percent. Which I like that what they did was they, instead of having, you know, the enemy is at, you know, 40% or whatever, they marked it off so that these are where the enemy gains a new, you know, mechanic or whatever. I like that. That's a good change.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, stupid. Tree is about to hit a thing here with the enemies as he is about to take them below 90.
We'll see how I get there. Enemies are always thicker than I expect in non-force time.
Correct. Because your numbers are massively inflated inside of force time in terms of how much damage you're doing. Oh my god! That skill 2 from Ashe made me sad.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why. I don't know why that happened there.
This reminds me of, I forget which fight it was, but I fought it might have been this one actually. I used my first force time, and I did barely any damage to the enemies even then. I don't remember why, but it was, I think I got like 20% of their HP. I think it might have been Cloud of Darkness. It was very sad. Beatrix is, yeah, there you go. There you go.
I'm surprised there's that much of a delay in the stream.
Oh yeah, it's quite far.
It's very strange.
Well, obviously we're not going to watch Treewood do the
No,
fight.
This fight is massively long.
Yes.
Yeah. I just want to hit the second phase, like when the birds change.
like the way that they design this so that at the end of the fight, when the enemies take their force time, you've got one in each stance rather than both of them in blue or both of them in black.
Mhm.
Because if they were going to end, let's say, in blue stance, well, you could plan your team and your force times in such a way that you could take advantage of the fact that, like right now, while they're in blue, you can still brave gain,
Yeah.
and you could just demolish them with somebody like Machina. Whereas if they're in black, you could just go ham with somebody who's brave damage based, and it would be really, really easy, especially since in black stance they can be broken. So you could take, Jack Garland or whoever, but by having a little bit of both, it adds more mechanics that you have to deal with. And it's one of the things that I actually like so much about. This is kind of an older fight now. The 6-man beta, where you had the.
Gotta bring it up again, don't you?
Of course I do. Not that one. I'm not. Oh my god! I wasn't even talking about that. But that's a great point. No, you had your flying dude and you had the frog bot, and they both have different mechanics that they're going through. Whether one of them is up and the other one is red, or this guy is down and the other one is blue. I like that they've got different and layered mechanics going on at the same time versus two people doing the same thing simultaneously. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think that's one of the points that people have been making more recently. It's like, why give us two of the same boss, right? Like it doesn't add anything to the fight. When you have two different boss types, there's a give and take to the actual fight itself. You're trying to manage two totally different sets of mechanics instead of just doing the same thing twice.
I'm watching Machina and Beatrix together. Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, they're very good together. There's a reason I've just been using the two of them and just sort of steamrolling through everything. Machina especially boosting the gauge by 25% on his counters and having two counters whenever he's attacked is ridiculous, really. Although this wasn't the best force time here.
As someone who's recently started appreciating Minwoo a lot more and his interaction specifically with Core, this still makes me kind of sad. Since Minwoo's, when you meet his condition of the off-turn holy damage, mm-hmm. It's 10%. But it's 10% each time, you do it. So, you HP plus with him and you're going to raise it by X amount. And then you're going to trigger trap on both enemies and that raises it another 10%. So you're actually getting, it's like 38 or something like that. Oh. Whereas if you add Core and they're doing an all attack, well, Core will do his follow down and that's 10%. And then he'll do it again and that's 10 more. So it's kind of the same double dipping idea. Mm-hmm. This is just way more efficient because it's 25 instead of 10.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if you capped out your gauge.
Yeah. Where are you at in this streamline?
They have just transitioned.
No. Can you refresh your stream?
Shit! Yeah, I am way behind.
Okay,
God,
okay.
It wasn't live.
Okay,
okay.
Cool.
There we go. There we go.
Okay. Do you think I should summon here or hold off?
What I did in my run was I summoned here.
Okay.
Just to pile on the damage.
Yeah.
But of course, I was running Seymour.
Yeah.
And this part was a big enabler for the rest of the fight.
Yeah.
Obviously. Let's see what you got. Man, Beatrix is so good.
Beatrix is amazing. I think this iteration of Beatrix is my favorite since she launched.
It is easily the most powerful.
Yeah. I would say like on GL. Okay. So, check out the force gauge increase here after that Ashe EX. It went from like 25 to 40%.
Hmm.
I don't understand how this works.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Yeah, it seems very strange. There's some goofy stuff in Transcendence 13 with Dark Knight Cecil as well. I've seen, or I guess with the enemies breaking you as well. So feel free to comment if you have any further explanation as to why the force gauge is so wonky, but I'll take it in this scenario.
Yeah, somebody posted a video in the TCC Discord about that. I don't remember who the player was, so don't get mad at me, you know. But within their summon, they raised the gauge by, it was like this massive chunk. It was like 25% off of one action, because it was like the enemies, they took some damage, and it might have been Sine Wave actually, because it was Minwoo. It would have to be Sine Wave because it was Minwoo and Leon on the same team. Yeah, that would have to be Sine Wave. But there's this huge gain, and I don't know. The huge gauge spikes are from a turn passing, and it's affected by everyone's force enhancements.
I'm not sure I understand what that means, but I trust it because it's from Cell.
Can you phrase that? Can you translate that into Canadian smell feed? God, I can't believe you made me fucking say that word. Oh my God.
I didn't make you do anything there. That was of your own volition.
I had a gun to my head, y'all.
Say it.
No, I'm not doing that again. Main chord feedback. Oh God, main chord. There's a video of Edge and Leviathan. EX charges in one skill instead of two. FR. Oh, okay. Okay.
You mind parsing?
The idea is that it's similar to the way that, at least in the past, speed and turn rate and things like that would affect your EX
Charge rate?
Charge rate, yes.
Yeah.
Except the metaphor here is that the FR gauge is that same thing, except it's for your entire team.
Okay. Yeah. So if I turn off all my speed passives, my FR gauge will fill up faster then, right?
You know, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you.
That's the case.
But I did notice in the ones that I saw that it was someone being broken in summon by the like the Doom debuff.
No, I played this Machina very poorly. Oh boy.
I was rewatching, I think the day before yesterday, I rewatched my run of the first Shinryu for, what is it? Act 3, Chapter 9, I think? Part 1. And oh my god, it was so bad. It was horribly optimized. Oh my god. I could go back and redo that and clear it in way less time using the exact same characters.
Yeah.
With the knowledge that I have now.
Shout out to everyone who streams and does fights at the same time. I don't know how you do it. I am massively struggling to pay attention to everything that's going on while having the conversation here. So, like, I don't know what buff just fell off Machina. I think it was Ashe's Noble, whatever, from her HP plus. Yeah. Thank you, Sel.
Shout out to BC.
Yeah. Shout out to BC. Shout out to Raw Life.
I think looking back at that video, and I'm replying to Sephi here. I think what I learned just watching this, I was like, oh my god, why was I so dumb? I popped Kane's FR and then I went into his burst, where it would have been a lot smarter because I was running Kane, Lena, and Laguna. I should have popped the FR, sent Kane into the air, and then used burst phase with Laguna. I would have done so much more damage, because I would be getting the extra off turn, not only the damage but the ticks for the force gauge with Kane. There's lots of little nuance like that as you play more in Shinryu and you play more specifically with the same FRs, you get better using them.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Even if this fight doesn't, if this gameplay doesn't quite showcase that, I do agree with that sentiment. I definitely feel like I've improved with the characters as a whole.
Alfie says that in his Machina IW run, Warrior of Light's skill 1, so the shield, shot the force gauge up by almost 40%. Because he got turn rate up and then got delayed on the same turn by the bosses.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know if I'm going to live.
It'll be fine. That one's in red form. It's percentage based.
Oh,
you're fine. Okay. The blue one is
yeah. Well, I also might not get them very close to 9% here. So we will see. Oh yeah, that definitely is percent based.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm also at 39 turns, so I am not getting this S either. Yeah, I am struggling to, and then this was not optimal play at all, but I am struggling to get to meet this mission in under the 50 turns. That's definitely something I've noticed quite a bit. Oh, come on.
Sephi said something interesting in chat. Said that early on when Reno's FR was new, he was using Ashe for the party enchant call, and then he found the Garnet 10-turn enchant on the call on each one of them because she has buff start. Big shout out to Sephi, which let me go to my YouTube subscriptions. I'm gonna pop a link in the chat. Y'all should go subscribe. Sure. Sephi makes great videos, and I too was one of the people that was hugely disappointed with Reno's FR on release. And we have been shown the way by this brave pioneer.
Sephi is incredible.
Absolutely
by showcasing, what some of these units can do, especially units who have been underutilized by the community.
Go show some love, y'all.
Yeah.
Oh, Alpha now. I was actually talking to Tree Void earlier today, and I think... Hey, there you go. There you go.
We got there. Will we get there by turn count? Probably not, but hey, maybe if they take all these turns, I can get it in under 20.
That is one thing that I do like, is that you have the option. So, for anyone who hasn't done this fight, the way that it works from this point on is you either kill them, or at the end of their force time, they die automatically.
And this force time is not cancelable, so you do have to let them get all 20 turns.
Yeah, it's not going to end well.
Yeah.
At this point, neither one of them has any debuffs. There's no protection.
There's Beatrix's protection. I'm not going to die here.
Oh, you have it up right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
I'm doing like no damage, but
yeah,
but
without any sap or anything like that, like the blue one in particular, it's gonna be rough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm definitely not okay. My force gauge is just like rocketing up right now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I wish I could slow myself down and just let them go. Okay, let's get some defenses up in here. Okay, Setzer.
Incidentally, speaking of, okay, I got you, Alphino. Speaking of your force gauge shooting up, let me go find the video. Alphino, as some of you may know, is a big Y'shtola fan.
Some of us call her Yashutera.
That was painful. That was painful. As many of you know, I gotta find it.
Yeah.
There it is. Got it. As many of you may know, Y'shtola just got her force level. I prefer the term force levels because it makes more sense. You've got your character level, you've got your crystal level, you've got your force level. Anyway, thank you, chat. So she just got her enhancement, and so now she can do really ridiculous things, like what you will see in the following video that I'm going to link in chat.
Oh yeah, you can do some goofy stuff now with your Y'shtola.
I wish that I could get lucky enough on the Necro call procs, but that will literally never happen.
I think that's much more a matter of persistence than luck.
Can it be both?
It could be. Is Machina's LD a free turn, or is it just an instant turn?
Off the top of my head, I want to say instant.
Ugh. Then do I want... I'm not going to press his BT then. Or his FR.
Oh, his FR?
No. His FR is, but I don't think I have the LD debuff. I don't have it. So I am going to FR with Beatrix instead.
Yeah. Literally, Alphino 2 is my actual record for the Necro LD call.
Yeah.
I've seen videos of people who get, 4 or 5 procs in burst phase. I'm like, how are you doing this? What demon did you sell your soul to for this kind of power? Because, oh my god, it's so unfun.
Yeah, you can talk to Cross about the joys of Necro procs in BT phase.
Uh-oh. Well, I could see that being really good for Null.
Oh, it is when they happen.
Yeah, that's a big condition.
Yeah, I'm clearly not going to meet turns here.
So while we're, well, then again, I might be behind a little bit. Yes, I am. I mean, if you get delayed a whole bunch of times, maybe. So as we're kind of wrapping up the run here, or whatever, Tree Void, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
In the first month of Shinryu, so we're talking the
GL
BT
side?
cycle for
Okay.
we're talking the BT cycle for Kane, which is Kane and Kryl and
Braska.
Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot Braska's name for a second.
Oh my God.
Oh boy, this
Blind Eye gonna get you.
This is a bad look for what I'm gonna say in a minute. And then the second part of the month, we've got Camlano, Desh, and Titus, right?
Yeah.
If you were to pick one character from, we'll say one character from each cycle, and you're looking to pick up their FR, who would you pick? Or are you not pulling for any FRs in the first month?
So I am pulling one from each. Well, I am pulling at least one from each cycle, guaranteed. But is this like a generalized pull advice, or is this my personal pull plans? Because those are two very different things.
I would say advice first, then your thoughts.
Okay.
What you're going to do.
So I'm going to do the sort of brain off meta strats of don't do any in the first one and pick up Cam and Titus in the second one. But what I'm personally doing is I am pulling for Kryl because I'm an FF5 fan, and I'm pulling for Desh because of FF3. I may do Cam just for Transcendent's sake. I'm not sure yet. And I may do Titus as well because I do enjoy using Titus. But I'm definitely not going to do Braska. I have no interest in Braska. I'm not going to pull Kane because I know I'm not going to utilize that FR. And the minor increase in... By the way, I didn't meet turn count for the S, but I will get the A. That's nice at least. Yeah, I'm not gonna pull Kane. I'm not gonna pull Braska, and who else is? Oh yeah, so I think I'm going to pull every single FR on Cam cycle. And while Desh isn't the greatest FR, as a unit, he's quite good in and of itself.
Yeah, his FR is hot. I'm trying not to swear as much because this is probably a more family-friendly show. Yeah. His FR is hot garbage. And I say that with all the love in the world because I am a huge Desh fan. Specific to this game, for those of you who don't know, Desh's FR conditions are plus 20% when an ally does a thunder attack, which is fine. He enchants the party. And then it's plus 30% after an enemy was unable to act, which means that you have to successfully prevent them from acting for that 30%. So you're put in a position where you want the enemy to take lots of turns so that you can boost your gauge, but they need to be paralyzed on a character with a 25% chance of paralyzing the enemy turn over turn. He does get an automatic 2-turn paralysis off when he uses the FR. But again, you want the enemies to take lots of turns. This is a terrible, terrible FR. I pulled for it on JP. I'll probably do it again just because I like Dash, but I will not press that button.
Yeah, it's rather disappointing. But, this is not avoidable, eh? Good to know. Oh no!
Are you attempting to get Kane's burst? Or
yeah. So I'm gonna pity Kane's burst on Kryl's banner. Woo! Unfortunately, I went 5 turns over, but yeah, that's the gist of the fight. If you don't want to give them 20 turns, you can kill them. Instead, you just have to deal the additional 50, basically. Do you have to take them to 0 or back down to 9%?
It's 0.
0. Okay, so you have to do 50% of HP to both. So this team can probably do it. You know, if I had a better Ultima weapon on Machina, if I was paying full attention, you know, I could probably get it done, narrow it down those 5 turns. There was some major skill issues with Machina there, so yeah, but that's a showcase of a good fight. There's a lot of thinking, a lot of interlace mechanics going on, and we'll be dealing with similar in Transcendence 13 next show.
I need to do that fight at some point. I've been putting it off because I got Cecil's FR, but I don't have his burst, and I want to use him.
Are you going to get it with Jesse?
Yes. My intention is to pull with gems really heavily on Jesse. Not because I particularly love Jesse, but turn manipulation and delay, you know, whatever. The fact that she pairs, at least on paper, she'll pair super well with Cypher is my primary reason for pulling. Cypher is probably my favorite character in this game.
Oh, really?
He's so good. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Like Beatrix is probably Beatrix top 5, but Cypher is number 1.
Cypher is very fun. I just find the lack of Brave Gain in this kit always kind of kills it for me. At least now in post C90 era.
Who needs Brave Gain when you're doing that much Brave damage?
You know, Brave damage will start to fall off again. So you may need to run him with an enabler, but
yeah, that part's gonna suck. But
right, because that's 2 slots already. Jesse, Cypher, and then someone to make sure that Cypher is doing.
Oh no, I'm thinking global future for that.
Okay.
As far as the enabler goes, because he does have an elemental skill 1, which is less great.
His skill, he has elements.
Yeah, his skill 1 is innate wind.
Oh.
None of the rest of his kit is.
So weird.
Yeah. Fantastic character, though.
Yeah. Okie doke. So, I think we've covered everything here. Lion, did you want to go over who you were going to pull in that first month?
It's funny you ask. What I want to do is pick up Kane's Burst. I'm actually looking at pulling for Kryl. I think Blind Eye has successfully convinced me to try and pull her FR. However, I'm going to go back for Braska again. I'm actually going to use him this time.
Are you?
Yeah. I picked up Braska's FR the first time around, along with the rest of his kit. I barely used him because I didn't max his FR. I think that you could probably do some interesting things with him. I mean, everyone says, oh, you know, major weakness, he doesn't, you know, fire enchant the party, which is a fair criticism, but when you look at a character like Sabin, you look at a character Sephi has had some amazing results with Reno, and Reno's thing, thunder damage, and he does not enchant. Use a Lulu call or whatever. You could do it.
Yeah. You know, I've seen some really cool runs that involve Braska. He presses his S1 a lot, and then he gets swapped out. And then the run's over. Yeah. So he's like a slightly worse Selfie, I guess.
Oh my god. As for the second half of the month, I'm not sure what I want to do. I don't think I'm going to pull for Titus's FR. I might try and go for Desh's just so that he has a better weapon than his EX.
Yeah.
But I think I want to go for Cam's FR and Burst because I genuinely enjoy Cam. He was one of those characters that I felt was always criminally slept on back when he first got his LD. So it'll be nice to use him again because right now in the game he's, I don't want to say unplayable, but he feels really bad.
Yeah.
But I've got him ready. You know, I've got the armor, I've got the costume. Like I'm set.
Cam and Garnet both suffered from going from, you know, sort of underutilized to becoming immensely overpowered. And anyone who sort of liked using them beforehand, now it sort of feels, you know, like, man, do I really want to use it? I mean, like they're so good, like it can kind of sort of kick you in the rear because now it may not be quite as fun to play them just because of how much they steamroll content.
I would agree with that. Yeah. I picked up Garnet's Burst because the animation was super cool, and I enjoyed using Garnet when she got her. I didn't get her LD originally on JP, but when she got her C90, and I was pulling more for Garnet than for Edge because I thought she was super cool. I got it, and I was like, oh my god, she's really fun to use, right? Mm-hmm. I got her LD on Global. I blued her. I was ready. I picked up the Burst. I think I've used her Burst, which I have greened. I think I've used it twice because Garbage Time was already a really unpleasant experience, and she was so overpowering that it just, what little fun or creative enjoyment that you could kind of eke out of the game by, you know, running a character that you really like, it just sucked all the fun out of it. And I know a lot of people will say I am known within the community for having some kind of hipster takes, but a big part of it is it's not, I don't want to use XYZ character because they're really popular. I like having to solve a problem, and when you're pretty much the single answer to all of the issues, you know, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
I don't know if that made any sense.
It does make sense. Again, it's disappointing, but it is the nature of the devs always increase an overpowered unit at the beginning of an era to sort of ease in, you know, a good portion of the player base. We had this with Reigns and Luffenia Plus. We had this with Aranea and Chaos. We're going to have it with Cam now and Shinryu. It's just a standard thing that the devs do at this point, especially in GL, where GL firsts are a thing. So I think it's just something that we have to be aware of, and there has to be a character that gets dealt the overpowered hand.
That's true.
And so, you know, sometimes it's your unit, and, you know, it's a blessing and a curse, but overall it's better than them being, you know, in like the Thancred or the Zonde tier of just not usable. So.
That being said, if nothing else, I have to pull for Cam's FR because his partner is Cypher.
Yes, it is. And that crosscut is so cool.
Yes, sir!
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people like to, you know, shitpost about, you know, reusing animations. I don't care. It looks cool.
It's fine when they use it in a cool way. Like that is very cool. The Gabranth one with Gao is really cool. There's a couple winners, and there's a lot of stinkers.
Yeah, there are.
We showcased the Beatrix one, and it is not good. Yeah, I agree, Cross. It just never felt fun to use Garnet at all.
I saw somebody say something earlier today, and I don't know for how much further we're going to go with this, but the FYI, y'all, the Jesse, I guess, final trailer, ? Would drop in 15 minutes if we're going to get one. Someone wasn't sure that they wanted Kane because they have Garnet, and the fact is that Kane will always outdamage Garnet. Garnet does a ton of damage with her off-turn stuff. She's got the 3 HP attacks. It's full AoE. Kain has 2, but they're every turn instead of every 4th turn.
Every turn while he's up in the air.
Yeah.
But when he's on the ground...
Yeah, skill 2 is a fucking Gatling gun.
It's a machine gun.
7 HP attacks, y'all.
Yeah.
7. It hits so hard. His skill 1 kind of sucks. It's, I think, 3.
It is.
But then you go and you've got his EX, which is like 3 or 4 or something like that. But it launches, it batteries the party, it's AoE delay, it has splash damage. Oh, man. Kain is so good. If you were on the fence about at least getting his LD and his burst, get off of the fence, go pull it. You won't regret it.
Kain is being used until now, very consistently.
Yes.
He's just extra damage to your team. It's just like selfie for launches. It's just free damage. There's no reason to not get it.
Kain is a. I know he wasn't the most popular character at the time. When X-Death got his burst, what you would often do is you would have him burst, and then you would have him sit there while you had a turn hog character like Titus or somebody else, Zell or Vayne or whoever. It didn't matter who it was. You would have them take a ton of turns. You could Rain's Mao with that, right? Very much the same deal with Kain, except Kain deals brave damage. Kain can participate in launches and still deal a ton of damage. He's just so strong.
Yeah, he while yes, his FR is cursed as being the very first FR. The rest of his kit hasn't aged really. It's just extremely good. And the fact that his follow-ups scale with FR is great, unlike some units who get their BT plus shortly thereafter. He continues to move forward quite well, even until current time.
And we do have force boards coming soon to JP, so there's a good chance he'll be one of the first units to get them. We don't really know.
Which would be extremely hilarious.
But you can bet that there's going to be some kind of tweak to the bonus that he gets, if nothing else to the second condition, which is the launch.
Is it launches he initiates, or is it all launches?
I believe it's all launches.
Does Kane's even launch? He launches on EX.
He launches on both.
Both.
His FR is a launch as well.
Oh, okay. It's very strange they give him a launch condition when he only... I mean, I guess on one button you press a maximum of twice in the EX.
A launch is 5%, and range damage is 5%.
5% per character who participates in the launch, or just 5%?
Just 5%.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's early, right? Like, the only reason why I'm going for Kryl is because her 5% triggers on off-turn attacks. So that's how I'm coping with Kryl FR.
I think that hers is actually pretty decent because you also get... The other part of it is the party battery, and she does that with her force her FR effect, as well as her EX.
So it's proccing every turn?
The party battery. Now, keep in mind, I don't have it.
Okay.
But it should.
Yeah. I can look into it a bit further.
That's 20% every single turn, plus the 5 that you get from thunder damage, plus whatever you get from your off-turn damage from... I'm thinking of running her with Kain and Galuf.
That's the exact team I'm planning on running. I have the Spear, Greatsword, and Staff Ultima weapon all built.
And I'll tell you, a big part of that is Galuf gets to double dip. I assume it works like this for Kryl, because it works like this for other stuff. It works like this for Midwoo. Galuf's counters. He's got the regular counterattack, and he's got the what do you call it? final attack. I forget the name of his LD counter, but he's got 2 separate counters, which are 2 instances of doing that thunder damage.
Do they? So do they? Have you used Galoof with other off-turn based FR weapons?
It works with Minwu.
It works with Minwu. So then I assume it'd work. Same with like Core.
I would assume.
Right.
Core also works with Minwu.
Yeah, exactly.
So I assume that it would.
So I would imagine that it does. I don't see why.
I think that would be super cool.
Yeah. That way you get 10%. Although plus Kane, so that's 15%. So that's pretty competitive overall. You know, I think that's pretty decent. Again, you need fights that allow for that. But
for sure.
But the final the Braska fight has 3 enemies, right? So I feel like there would be a lot of enemy turns going on there.
Do we like that? Yeah. I want Braska to be good, y'all. I'm not explicitly saying that he's bad, but he's amazing.
Well, you know, maybe with FR boards, his FR will enchant the party for fire.
His LD and his EX are really good, though. I love his mechanic with the overdrive. It's perfect.
Yeah, being able to summon Final Aeon is a very neat feature.
Are you familiar with how he works at all?
You build the bar, and then you press the button, and then Big Jack shows up.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
Those are all things that happen.
That's what I know.
So the way that it works is every turn that he takes, the bar gets bigger.
Yep.
So it increases by 1, kind of like your Garnet or Kane. And then when it hits 5, it turns his both versions. Turns his EX and his FE to their plus versions,
right,
which hit harder. They go from, I think, 3 HP attacks. I've got Dissidia Compendium open. Yeah, it goes from 3 HP attacks to 5, which is noticeable. But the other part of it is that it's not just the plus version when the bar is full. It stays that way when it goes away. Which, it sounds dumb, but once you play with it, it makes more sense. It's hard to explain.
It stays that way when it goes away.
So it's not a condition that you have to meet. Like, you don't have to constantly have the overdrive gauge at 5.
So once you get it to 5 once, that's it?
Once you get it to 5, they both... It's Cecil. Okay, Dark Cecil. You know how he has an HP requirement for skill 1 and skill 2, right?
Yes.
To get the plus version?
Yes.
When you use his EX, it turns both of them to the plus version, and you get a use of each one, and it stays as the plus until you use it, even if you're at full health, right?
Okay.
Same deal here. Once you hit 5 on the overdrive, first off, it automatically refills your EX. I forgot to mention that. But it switches them both to the plus version, and they stay as the plus version until you use them. Which, for the EX, you're immediately going to press it, and then that gives you a free skill. Braska is really fun to play.
I thought you just press S1 and then you swap him for a friend unit.
No, you don't do that. You bring in the friend selfie first.
Oh,
you do that first. You've got it out of order. You're not optimizing your FR correctly. Yeah. Anyways, I'm rambling.
Yeah, no worries. I don't think we will stay on for the Jesse showcase. Unless you want to stay on, Lion.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
We've been going for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, we've been going for a while. Thank you everyone for stopping by. This stream did run a little long. I will try to keep the remaining shows around the hour length mark. This one, I think it ran long just because we did do a lot of talking about getting ready for Shinryu and such. And we won't really need to do that quite as much next stream because that'll be in 2 weeks. And we should be in Shinryu at that point in GL. So the next stream will be July 6th, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you, Cross. Lion, did you have any parting remarks you wanted to say?
I don't think that I do this week. Good luck to anyone pulling for Jesse tonight. Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting to see what kind of Shinryu event we get out of that. I don't really have anything.
Perfect.
Oh, take that back. I started playing Genshin Impact. Like, actually playing it this week. I have gotten one character that is the one that you're guaranteed to get when you pull for the first time. That's it. Everything else I've gotten is trash. It's all weapons. It's very sad.
That's the game. Oh, all weapons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All weapons.
No waifus.
No.
Ugh.
And that's the whole reason I'm playing this game.
It's the only reason you play Genshin.
Look. I know exactly who I want. She's not on a banner. This is upsetting to me.
Reroll.
No, she's literally not on a banner.
Oh, well. You know.
That's all I got.
Simp responsibly, Lion.
I don't wanna.
Okay, have a good evening, y'all.
Y'all take it easy.
Yeah. Peace out.